What's up? This is Brian with Conscious Fitness, and in today's video, we're discussing the top 10 high-protein plant-based foods. So first of all, don't mind the marks. They're just from cupping. Really, really good for recovery. So let's just jump right into it. Number one source for me, I love tofu, but this could also be fava bean tofu. So not just soy. So when we think about high protein foods, we're going to start with the highest protein sources first, right? Tofu is super accessible, it's very inexpensive, and there's a lot of things you can do in regards to making it. I love scrambling it, kind of making a tofu scramble, but absolutely like my air fried tofu recipe is my favorite. So you can find that on my channel. I'll definitely link that below. But that's definitely going to be very high in protein. And when we think about what's high in protein, we're looking at like per grams or per amount of calories. You know, if we have 100 calories of a food, how many of those calories are protein? So that's what distinguishes, you know, what's a high protein food. Because fruits, vegetables are going to have a small amount of protein, but we're not going to consider them high because most of those calories are going to come most likely from carbohydrates. And I just want to throw this in, carbohydrates are not bad. We do not need to worry about too many carbs. As long as we're focusing on calories and protein, we're going to be good. So number two, this is actually, if I really had to say, this is probably my big favorite, but it's going to be tempeh. So tempeh is basically fermented soybeans. I really love it. It's got a much more hearty, kind of grainier texture than tofu, which can be a little chewy. So tempeh is such a great one. You're also going to get the fact that it's fermented. That's really good for your gut microbiome. And it's really high in K2, which is a vitamin that it's kind of hard to find unless we're getting some type of fermented food. So number three, let's just stick here with more soy-based, and that's going to be edamame. So that is going to be the immature soybeans. So you can get these in the pod, you can get them out of the pod, you can get them frozen, you can also get them roasted as a nice snack. So there's a couple brands out there that will do roasted edamame, and you can snack on them just like peanuts or any nuts, and they're crazy high in protein for the amount of calories you get. So these three are going to be some of the top, but again, you know, not everything needs to be soy-based, right? We do have fava bean tofu, so let's get into some of the other things as well. That's going to be more of our beans and legumes. So number four, definitely going to be lentils. Lentils are super, super high in protein. They're one of my favorites. If you've seen my lentil pizza crust recipe on this channel, I'm going to link that below, but that's one of my favorite meals to make. Just creating a lentil pizza crust gives me like about, I don't know, 18 or almost 20 grams of protein just for the crust. And it's super, super simple to make. But lentils are a key staple. Another thing is they're extremely cheap, so anyone can have access to them. So aside from lentils, we're also going to look at beans. So I'm going to definitely focus. For me, I love black beans. They're going to be a bit higher in protein. We have pinto. You know, we have others, right? But say, for example, chickpeas, they're definitely up there, but chickpeas aren't going to have as much total protein as, say, black, right? So, you know, it's always a combination of what you like versus what you need to hit your protein goals. But pretty much any beans here, I mean, there's so many. Choose your favorite because that's what you're going to be able to be consistent with. So right after beans, we're going to have peas. And a cool little fun fact is that split peas are going to be slightly higher in protein than just green peas. Now, you might have seen so many different protein powders out there using pea protein. So it's honestly a really great source. And just letting you know, like you can do protein powder as well, but we're not going to focus on protein powder today because we're looking at foods. So right after peas, we also have an opportunity to get a much higher concentration of that protein in a food source. And that is going to be TVP, which is textured. We're actually going to do veggie / pea protein because this can be made with either soybeans or with peas. And what they're doing is basically taking out the fiber, the carbohydrates, the fats, and you're left with, it's almost like a almost like a ground beef type consistency if you made it for like tacos or things like that. I love adding this into soups, but what you get is just basically this piece of food that's just protein left over. So it's really, really easy. And honestly, this is one of my biggest travel hacks because you can take this as a dry good. All you need to do is add in some boiling or hot water, and all of a sudden, it volumes up. You can add it right into your meals. So I'll use this when I'm traveling to get a really a high quality protein source to just add into my meals. Especially, you know, like there's a lot of places you go out to eat, you might only have to order from the side menus and things like that. So this ensures that I always have protein wherever I'm at. So number 8, one of my favorites here, it's going to be nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is going to give us a couple grams of protein for a tablespoon, but we're also getting fiber as well. So this is also a really good source of your B12 vitamins because most nutritional yeast brands are going to fortify it with B12. So you have enough nutritional yeast that knocks out the need for a B12 supplement. So that's what's really great. And I love adding this on to like all different types of meals. And if it's a cooked meal, I'm probably going to add some nutritional yeast to boost the protein, boost the fiber, and add kind of like that cheesy type flavor to it. Now, number 9, we're going to do seeds. And my favorite, I mean, pretty much all your seeds are going to be really good here, but I love pumpkin. We have sunflower seeds, which are also extremely high in vitamin E. We've got chia. I mean, we could go for days. Hemp, flax. Generally speaking, most of these seeds, a tablespoon is going to give you about 3 grams of protein. But the reason why this is important on here is they're going to have healthy fats and healthy fiber as well, right? So I know we're focusing on high protein foods, but the reality is when you construct a meal with, say, tofu and lentils, and then you add things like nutritional yeast and the seeds, you're going to see your protein rise up pretty quickly. And now for the last one, this is a really cool one. I really love this, and this is such a very concentrated protein source. So it is going to be powdered peanuts. So a couple brands out there like PB Fit, very similar to the textured pea protein. You know, they're pulling out the fats and all the oil, and now you're left with pretty much a little bit of fiber, a little bit of carbohydrate, but much more protein. So normally, say 2 tablespoons of peanut butter, it's going to be about 190 calories, 8 grams of protein. With PB Fit, you can bring that down to 105 calories for about 2 tablespoons, and you're going to get about 13 grams of protein. So it's really cool. So it's a great way to save calories and then to also increase that protein amount. So these are the top 10 high protein plant-based foods. I will say as a little addendum, seitan is also a very high protein food. It's probably one of the highest. However, I'm not a really big fan of gluten. A lot of people have intolerances to it. There's a lot of glyphosate exposure with it. So I tend to stay away from it. But if you're okay with it, if you have no problem with it, you can definitely add that in as well. Now, there's definitely more things out there, but these are definitely my favorites. And I even say next to beans, let me just add this in here. We can also do bean-based pasta. And really my big favorite here is probably going to be more like lentil-based pasta because it's going to have the highest amount of protein, right? If you've ever had chickpea pasta, it's definitely better than whole wheat, but it's not going to have as much protein as, say, lentil or edamame pasta. Edamame is going to have the highest for sure. So we definitely want to think about lentil pasta or edamame pasta when we're thinking about a bean-based pasta. So these are the top 10 high protein plant-based foods. I rotate through a lot of these, pretty much all of them throughout the month, and they're just amazing to get your protein, and you're also getting a lot of fiber along the ride for you too. So if you need any help constructing meals using these, you definitely want to check out my Power Meal formula. So I'll leave the link in the description for you. It's a full guide that shows you step by step how to construct high protein, very nutrient dense meals. And you're also going to get a full masterclass video where I explain everything about it. It's totally free, so just check it out below. But much love, I'm Brian Bell with Conscious Fitness, and I'll see you on the next one.